Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about how to localize a movie poster from English to Chinese, simplified Chinese. And as you can see, the movie poster I'm going to localize is from Lilo and Stitch. The TV and movie series Lilo Stitch really started catching my eyes these days, and I really like the character Stitch. I vaguely remember that when I was in elementary school, I would go home and finish my homework as early as possible just to watch 2 episodes of that. After so many years, I finally started on the original English series, and because of that, I had this idea to localize the movie Lilo and Stitch. Stitch has a glitch poster from English to simplify Chinese. Today, we're going to talk about the localization process and some challenges I met during the project. For this desktop publishing project, I used Adobe Photoshop 2023 and Adobe Fonts. No machine translation was used because it's more of a marketing promoting poster in which some transcreation and official translation were needed. So let's get started. The first step is to hide the text to have a clean poster. So as you can see, when we open that source file, by the way, it is in JPG file, in Photoshop, we have this. And the first step I did is to create, copy and paste the original layer to have the exact same layer here. I call it background overlay. You can see over here. The only purpose of background overlay is to hide all the text. So we have a clean poster so we can add our Chinese text on it later. And I have already done it, but I will show you how. Here we first need to select precisely the text we are going to make disappear. Let me zoom in a little bit. First, we need this tool over here called Object Selection Tool. I'm sorry. We need to select the layer first. And we draw a box here. As you can see, after I draw the box and select all the letters, there are some lines, borders, or whatever you call it around the text. But this is not enough. To make sure, I'm gonna go to the select menu, modify, and expand. Let's say expand 2 pixels. I think that's exactly what I did with this text. And clicked OK. You can see that the texts are for sure selected. After we selected all the text we need, we can use a feature in Photoshop called Content Aware. It is powerful. Let me show you. We go to Edit menu, Fill, and under the Context drop box, we choose Content Aware. And we clicked OK. As you can see, most of the selected contents just disappear and leaving the background over here, but we have some debris, of course, but we will worry about that later. For Stitch has a glitch, this tagline, I use the same strategy. Now let's take a look at here. There's a painting that Lilo is holding with a very cute Stitch and the text good and bad. We're gonna make those texts disappear, but that was extremely easy. We're gonna only use here the brush tool. We select brush tool, and here we can select color. Oh, I'm sorry, here we select color, we select background color, we use brush tool on here. Also here, we can choose the size of the brush tool. Now let's go back to the debris we haven't handled yet. As I mentioned here, there are some leftovers, as I call it. Here, I'm gonna use the tool called Clone Stamp Tool. When you use this tool, basically it clones the same color or pattern in this poster or in the image and copy and paste to the part you want. For example, here we can see the background is some orange color, sunset colored clouds. And we're gonna make sure that we select the right color. We use Option plus right click. Here you can see the background is changing and we are erasing or clone and copy paste the color. Of course, now I'm showing what I'm showing is not perfect, but you have to be really patient and they took some time to imitate the exact same background. I'm not gonna make all my time on this video on this. So I'll be showing you the final result. Background overlay. Here, as you can see, all the texts are gone and I've already made them gone. All right, here let me talk about the second challenge I met during this project. As you can see from the original text, the fonts they're using is quite vivid, quite special. And sadly, I didn't find the exact same font. Also, even if I did, I'm pretty sure this font doesn't really support Chinese. So we need to find a better Chinese font for my project. Here we go to Adobe Fonts website. Let me show you the magic website. This is the Adobe Fonts website. And we can go to all fonts. Here we can type some sample text. Since I'm localizing into Chinese, I'm gonna use the movie title as my sample, which is 星际宝贝 in Chinese. And here we can choose language, Chinese simplified. Here we can see all the fonts available. And it took me for a while on this font shopping. Once you find your desirable font, you can view family and more informations over here, and you just activate this font and you will be fine. Sometimes you need to reopen the Photoshop to make it appear on your character font menu. So after the font shopping, as I showed you before, I found two fonts that I really like and I think it's perfect match to the original text. One font is for the movie title and another one is for the font in painting that Little is holding. And let me show you for the title. I've already done it again. Well, here, my font. Here you can see it's called Ziku 快乐. And another font I found is here. It's a little bit small, but selected. You can see it's called Wawa TSC. And they are both available in Adobe Fonts. Thank you, Adobe Fonts. The next step will be adding new text on this poster since we already erased all the original text from the poster. This step is relatively easier and you need good translation since it's a movie poster. So I just took all the official translation and here Stitch has a glitch. I transcreated a little bit. And also here, good and bad, I translated into 善良和邪恶 in Chinese. Now let's talk about how to add additional effects on our fonts, on our texts. Because in the original poster, there are strokes, there are drop shadows, there are gradient colors. So we're gonna make that happen in our target file too. For the title, we select the menu, select the layer first. Let's add some stroke, layer style, stroke. In this menu, you can see you can adjust many parameters for the stroke, whether it's color. Yeah, you can define the color yourself or the size. As you can see, as I move this, you can see the different size. I think I did 2 pixels for this project. I'm not gonna click OK because this is already done. Cancel. This is how to add stroke. Then let's see how to add shadow. Again, select the layer style, and drop shadow. In this drop shadow menu, again, you can adjust many parameters, including color, opacity, angle. I made the angle 145 degrees, so it's the shadow is towards exact bottom right corner. And this is very easy, to be honest. We clicked cancel because I already done that. This is how you add stroke and how to add shadow. Now let's talk about how to add gradient color in our text because Stitch has a glitch. This text is not pure green. It's more like a gradient color from green to yellow. And to be honest, it took me a while to figure this out, but I'm glad to show you. We actually first need to add our own defined gradient pattern to gradients panel. To make this happen, we go to window, there's a gradients. We can see gradients here. It has already have some very cool gradients pattern, but we need our own. So click this little plus sign. We can go to gradient editor menu. And we have a name, give it a name, we give it some color. The color option is over here. You can choose your own color as you want. Here you can choose another color. I mean, if you are happy with 3 different colors, you can add another one. Like, let's say, yeah, this is a weird pattern, but overall, you can define your own name and you click new. I'm not gonna do it because I've already created my own. I'll show you in a minute. After this, we are good to go. We select the text we want to change, layer style, and there is a gradient overlay. In this gradient overlay, make sure that you choose your own defined gradient from gradient menu here. I choose this one because this one I did it just now. And again, there are many parameters you can play around, but basically, if you clicked OK, that will apply to it. So my translation, my target Chinese text, I use my own gradient. This is something I didn't know before, and it took me a while to figure that out. Okay, after we added all the text we want, it's time to wrap up. So I finally wrap up with two more things. The first one is I group all the text layers. I group the text layers into one group called Chinese text, so all the text would be easier to manage together. And also, if I want to add more languages to this project later in the future, localize this image into different more languages, I can always group the same language text together. This is clear and convenient. As I show here, you can see I group them together. Group 1, it's all Chinese text I need. Also, the second thing is, of course, export the file. as client indicated, instructed. So after all is done, I exported the JPG file through the file export as. I name my Chinese version, adding some ISO code like ZHCN, and rename the source file in US. So now I can finally zip up the project folder and send it to my client. Let's take a look at the final result. So English version, Chinese version, English version, Chinese version. Pretty neat, right? So this is such a fun project, and I really enjoyed the process, even the challenges I met. I learned something new I didn't know before, and I am now definitely more confident about any potential future multilingual desktop publishing project. In fact, it was the challenges that really made me believe as a localizer, there's really no obstacles I cannot overcome. Thank you for listening, and I hope you are having a good day. Goodbye.